Hello, hello. Welcome to the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. So I'm your host, Kat Connect, and I'm excited to share with you the many soul-driven strategies. That's how excited I am. I stumble over the word strategies that there are to help you to succeed in your coaching business and your life. And today, our topic is the state of coaching as a career. So here's a little bit. I'm going to introduce my guest in a moment, but I thought about this as I was preparing for today's show. So when I started my beginning as a coach, I was working for the United States Postal Service. I was on an executive team, and I'm going to just use some words: dysfunctional, toxic. It was not any fun at all. I'll just say that. And even though I'm a positive person, I really didn't have any hope for this executive team. The Postal Service, here's the first miracle, is they hired a team of coaches for us, this team, because we were pretty important to their bottom line and getting some things done, and we weren't doing it. So they hired these coaches to come in, and they worked with us individually. And really, I considered it a miracle at the time. We started functioning as a team, and we started getting things done. And I remember one meeting in particular where I thought, this is actually fun. So I was hooked. I trained as a coach. After that, I started my own business, and now I love to support coaches to build their businesses, because I believe that that's how we spread the miracles, the magic, far and wide. So I'm going to have joining me in a moment a woman. Her name is Farrell. She shares my passion. I hold her in very high regard. I have even featured her wisdom and expertise in my book, Evolve Your Coaching Business. I'm excited to talk with her today because we're going to look at this topic. Now, here's a little bit about Ann. She has over 4 decades of success on all sides of the corporate coaching table. She's the founder and CEO of Quantum Endeavors. It's an executive leader and team developed firm. She supports executive leaders and the coaches who seek to support those people. Right. And she has this word, I'm going to talk to her about it, because it's this word, she supports them to be empowered. I'm very curious about that, to live their greatest life, to do their greatest work. So I'm excited. I'm welcoming to the show Ann Farrell. Welcome to the show, Ann.
Welcome, Kat. Thank you for having me here.
It's so great to have you. And I want to just jump right off. So I'm curious. I'm going to start with that curiosity about the word empowered, because I've been thinking about it ever since I saw it. I'm like, what does that mean?
I love that. Thank you. It's, similar background, 47 years in this industry, 30 years in corporate. And what I heard in corporate throughout was that you are empowered. You're empowered, just take the ball, run with it, make it happen, get things done. And so what really struck me early and mid-career was all of the people who didn't know what to do with that ball. And so, great,
I'm curious.
I'm empowered.
Yeah, what would happen when they didn't know what to do?
Yeah, they would freeze, they would struggle to make decisions. They would not really trust that if they did it anything other than absolutely the correct way, that there would be negative repercussions. So it really created a freeze play as opposed to a engagement play. And so I started using, even as a leader then, this concept of being empowered, I-N, before we can be empowered. So empowered is other people giving us power. Empower is us giving power to ourselves. And
that is so cool. That is just so cool. I just love it. I knew it was going to be something, exciting, because that's really what coaching is all about. And sometimes I love this about you, Ann, is how well you use words. You use it. That's just so beautiful. So many coaches struggle with, how do I talk about coaching? How do I tell people what it is? You just describe it. You just got it right down to the bottom line.
Well, thank you. And
Cool.
I love using it now to support coaches to understand that that's the key to their business success as well.
It is your key.
It all starts here. It all starts here. We think our journey is over once we get our coach training and find out that, oh, I went to training, I'm going to learn how to coach others. Surprise. We
Surprise,
have to
surprise.
work on ourselves first.
Yeah, I am really curious. So I have some big questions. I want to kind of look at the big picture of the coaching profession, but you've got me
Right.
curious here. Like what do you think really helps coaches when they're building a business? Again, I get this place, right? I've done my coach training.
Right.
I love helping people. It's so much fun. And we want to support that because
Yes.
that's a real true thing. But what do you think are some of the keys of helping them to get to that for
That
themselves?
empowered. Yeah.
Before they so they need to get there helping their clients, but how do you help? Like, what are keys of helping them get there for themselves?
Yeah, thank you, Kat. And I know we are both so passionate about this work of helping coaches being able to do this work, which means it has to be sustainable for them. To me, the place it starts, the whole empowerment thing, is the coach has to believe in their own value first.
And so I don't know. I have like different questions come to me about that. What about their own value do they need to believe in? Right? Like
they need
personal, is it like their value that they believe they can bring something to other people?
If you think about the power of coaching, as you just said, to be helping others to find the power within so that they can show up to empowerment from others, it's we, the coach, need to actually model that first, not think of coaching skills as something over there on the table, but it's like we bring our whole person to the role. And when we show up full-bodied, fully empowered, then we really become this opportunity for the clients, the organizations, the teams that we're with. We give them permission to show up whole-bodied too. And I think that's really what coaching helps people, not to leave parts of them behind, to bring it all to the forefront with every beautiful state that it's in, every beautiful state, and then see how we can make something really magical with it.
That is such a great tip. So for the coaches listening to this show, I want you to write it down. I do this, like, write this down, because this is something that I encounter in my work. Is so often coaches come to me. It is so funny because they come with their head. So they've been taught and trained all about the heart and the body. We got all of this, the whole person and coactive
for somebody else.
But they're like, so Kat, help me, I want some strategy around this. And it's like, yeah, well, that's only going to get you so far. And it's not going to get you that sustainable piece unless what you just said is true. Yeah. They bring their whole selves. They have this, and here's like it's a statement and a question. When they have that, like, so there's those two things. When they have that, then I feel like everything is possible.
Yes.
Like then all those things that they're like, how am I going to do it? And how is it going to work out for me? All start to become possible.
Exactly.
But it's a journey. It's a real journey. It doesn't like happen overnight. It's not like a one continuous line. I'm curious what you found for yourself. Like, if you think about your own journey, what have been the ways that you have grown or found have helped you to have that empowered state?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's really easy for me to talk about this first one with myself first. It's not expecting perfection. It's really about honoring the current state. And how do I show up with all of it openly, transparently, trusting that there's something in my state that others can connect with, or a single client or a team can connect with, that helps them lean into their current state as well. But yeah, it's like as an Enneagram 3, the first thing that has to get put down is worrying about image. It just has to be real.
I love that. It's got to get put down. Like we got to put it down because it's gonna be there.
It's going to be there. If we don't put it down, we're in ego, we're in our head, and none of this great work happens from those places. You've already mentioned that.
Mhm.
It
Love that.
90% of the work of building this business, a business as a professional coach, is giving others confidence that we
Mhm.
can actually do this work. And I always tell the coaches in my program, they'll believe you right after you do.
That's right. That's right. I get asked this question a lot because I work for the Coactive Training Institute, and so I train coaches in front of the room and in certification. And I get asked this question a lot about what it actually takes to succeed as a coach in business.
Mm.
And this is true of, I think, everything in coaching. We can only take people as far as we've gone. Like people can't go, right? I just tell my clients sometimes it's like, I might have just learned this 5 minutes ago. I might have just grown into it, but now I can take you there because I've been there. And this is, but again, I love what you're saying, Ann, because this is so true. In order to actually help people, like the way we want to do as coaches, we have to believe in ourselves and in what we can bring to them as a coach. And it's not ego and it's not perfection, because those are, I'm just underlining what you said, because those are the things that, the saboteur, the mind says, oh, you've got to have it all together. You've got to be some version that, people will trust. Well, people actually trust that authentic self. They exactly. Okay, there's another thing that I noticed when so one of the things I do when I have a guest on my show is I go poking around. I look at social media things, and it's really fun to do that kind of gathering. One of the things I noticed about you, Ann, really consistently is wherever I went on social media and looked at what you were talking about, you were talking about how the people you serve, you were bringing either some valuable piece of information, like I read some articles that I hadn't read before. I'm like, ooh, that's really kind of a juicy thing to think about. Or you're just simply talking to the people that you're here to serve. So I don't know what question to ask you. Like, how does that work for you? I guess I want the people listening to this to know how you've come to that and how that works for you as a person and in your business.
Well, nobody's ever asked me that before, but I will tell you there's a simple one. It's just love.
Wow.
When I know that I am in the mode of giving love, care to people, that's when I know that I can be in the most service. And so, yeah, give, love, love, love. And I try to come from that place all the time as best I can. And what I notice is when I do it, it's like, that's where we can connect here.
Yeah.
We can connect here. So I'm interested in connecting here. I'm interested in putting more love in the world. I'm interested in finding multipliers of that, the ways that we can expand that. So, and to me, that's one of the big opportunities. I know you want to talk about the coaching profession. I think it's one of the big opportunities for us in the coaching profession, that there's a lot of people and a lot of professions that come from this place.
Yes. There are a lot of people come from the head. That's easy.
Yeah. And what if we get to be the ones that come from here and from intuition? Not that we're not wise in using our wisdom, but what if we just acknowledge more, we come from the whole place?
So when you take that, because I want to go to that, like, let's look at how do you imagine that could work? How, if we did that, because I'm right on board with that. Like, let's have a crusade. Let's come from the heart. Let's come from love, intuition. And how do you imagine that will work for spreading coaching and coaches being successful?
Yep. So and my bias, you know this already, is coaching for organizations.
Right.
And the way that we make that work, the way that we land and we deliver that work is all through relationships.
Mhm.
And so the stronger, right, the more love we pour into the relationships, the people that we're trying to serve, the more they open up, receive, and the more they do things inside their organizations that spread care, human to human relationship and contacts. It makes coaching so much more expansive because it's really about building a culture of care, one conversation at a time, one caring person to another caring person at a time. It's amazing what you can even get a team to break through and talk about when you lead with the concept of how much do we care about each other.
Wow. So what I hear you saying, I want to kind of bring it to some,
Sure.
maybe some tactical pieces. So the future of coaching, we're looking like, okay, this is my thinking, like the world needs coaching like never before, like so much. And
Right.
organizations, that's where there are a lot of people. And in my experience, there's a lot of pain and struggle. And a lot of I think of as like negative experiences that people have in this world a lot of it happens there. So what I hear you saying for coaches that's what they want to, that's the population they want to serve. I think it's true for everybody, but we're looking, specifically if they want to serve an organization, their best, I'm going to use the word tactic, is to come wholeheartedly from love and have a mindset of relationship. How do we get in relationship with each other?
Exactly. And if love is too heavy and too scary, we can step into it. I call it relationship forward and service focus. Just stay there. Just stay there. It happens to be that for me, service comes from a place of love. But yeah, just stay relationship forward and service focused, as opposed to thinking about your services you're offering, even coaching, as a commodity or something that you're selling. If what it really is, it's a human relationship, it shifts even how we create engagement processes or talk about what a leadership team may aspire to want to be and do. It just moves things more to what resonates and connects with what humans need together. Yeah,
I'm thinking two things come to me. One is I have a chapter in my book called Love for Sale. Because when I worked for the Postal Service, when I was describing to one of the executives on my team this work I was intending to do, he said, it sounds like another profession, Kat. It sounds like you're selling love. And I was like, well, yeah. As a matter of fact, that's true. So what do you, I love the perspective you're offering these coaches.
You just brought me right back to the core of Inpowered and why it starts with us, because it all begins with unconditional self-love. And so that's the work that enables us to show up that way with others. It's that inner peace that is the continuous process throughout our lives.
You're saying some very profound things, and I have this thought that it's going to be surprising to people, because again, in my work, especially my work at the Inpowered Institute, so often the students will say to me, yeah, but Kat, I work with executives. Oh, but you don't understand. I work with, blah, 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 HR and this and that. I'm like, well, you work with people.
Bingo. You work with people who are hungry to be cared for and have connection and want to love what they do.
Is there some advice or that you could give people on how do we translate that? Like, are there some ways of, because I know, having worked in organizations, or like even with the coaches I work with who just want to work on their business, they are so head focused
Yeah.
And they're like, you need to tell me that you're going to help me solve this problem. Right? Are there some ways you found really help the coaches you work with to get a message to the people they want to work with?
Covertly, can I talk about that? Right? Because if I go right here, you already feel it. The resistance is like, well, no, this is not what I want to do. It's not what I want to do. But if we go and start with, like I love to do, with the why you for who with what, why you, and really keep going at, like the 5 whys of problem solving, the 5 whys of why you, we drill down into the real reason that we were called to do this work. Because there's lots of ways to make money, right? So
a lot of easier ways to make
right. So when we start with, no, really, why do you do this work? And why would someone else invest and choose you amongst all the millions of coaches in the world? Why would they choose you? Why you to entrust their talent with? What we're really doing is we're drilling down to self-value, owning what they do bring to the table. And now we are right in the neighborhood of unconditional self-love. If we can own and honor ourselves more, it's that close. We're right in the hood of more unconditional love. And so anchoring there, Kat, is what I've really seen to be, number one, the big boulder lift. What's been blocking coaches to build their businesses. When we anchor right there, the resistance almost flies away because they get to show up and really own their value and why they want to serve and how they serve and what special need are they absolutely perfect to serve because of where they've been and what they've done. And when they talk with people, sponsors of this work from that place, they land the business.
Yay. I'm going to say that is really good news because there is maybe it's a myth out there in the coaching profession that there is, here I am as coach, and this is one way of being, and then here I am as business owner, and this is another way of being, which is, again, I have to put on a front, I have to be more tactical, I have to convince people, I don't want to do sales, I don't want to push people. I'm sure you've heard all those things.
Yep, all that.
All
exactly.
That. And what you're offering is just keep over here with all the things you've learned as a coach and use it for your own self, for believe in it yourself enough and do the work. That's the other piece.
Bingo.
Right? It's some work, it's some excavating, it's some, you use the word boulder.
Yes.
It's really being willing to go to that place and actually do the work and remove that boulder. Really, because it's either, it's not something you can fake, that part either. You can't fake your
Bingo.
way.
You can't fake your way through it. And the release that happens when you actually can then genuinely love on other people or serve them is it changes how you feel about business building. Because it's no longer, I'm going to go sell to people. It's like, I'm going to have another awesome heart-based conversation and I'm going to serve. And maybe there'll be some business in it for me, but in the moment, I'm serving them and that brings me great joy. It also brings a lot of business.
Yeah, both things are true. I've just found that myself.
Right.
It's like the most fun thing is talking to prospective clients. It's like, it's just so much fun. Or even putting out a blog or like doing the show or like whatever. It's like being able to make that heart connection with other people. Selfishly, right? It just feels so good. I mean, that's the good news. It's like, well, this just feels good. And again, some people, it will build business and it's not like every single contact has to have some, whatever, like a technical outcome. And sometimes we never know the impact that we're having.
Exactly. And I love the list you just called off, Kat. Love the list. All the things that you have a podcast, you write a blog, you reach out and talk to people. Why I love it is you're showing up, doing things in ways you love to do them versus a list of things you should do because this is what you've heard coaches need to do to grow the business.
That's right.
It
That's
lands so differently.
Yeah. So right. So when you think of the coaching profession, let's go big
Yes.
picture here. What do you see for the future, like of this profession? Because you and I have been in it for a while and we've seen it change and grow in some ways, in other ways, not as much as I would have hoped. I still see there's some limits to how people perceive coaching.
Yeah, there's that. I think that there's been, as you mentioned, there's been so many changes in the past 17 years since when I came in it. A couple of the things that have changed dramatically. There's so many more coaches. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Another thing that's changed dramatically is when I was in corporate, if you weren't an executive or on the way to be an executive, coaching wasn't made available to you. That's been changed for about 10 years now. About 10 years, it's been director up. That was a huge shift. Now we're looking at everyone with some level of coaching. It's not all the same kind of coaching, but some level of access. Organizations are looking for how it goes to all. So the great news is coaching inside organizations, which is nothing more than groups that collect people, are making it available to more, and there are more coaches. The thing that hasn't changed that I think as a huge frustration of mine is that in 2005, when I checked the data about how many coaches are able to make a living doing this work, it was 3%. In 2023, it's like 4 to 5% are able to make a living of trained coaches. That's what hasn't changed, and that's what still needs to change. Because
that's our crusade, right? That's our crusade.
That's our crusade. Exactly.
Oh gosh, that hurts. I feel a little pang when
that hurts the heart. Yeah,
it does. It does. So what do you think will bring that change about? So if we were to have our dream, you and I, like,
yes.
Okay, so coaching the coaches, like we change that number dramatically. What are some things you see could make that number move?
Some of the things I see are some of the things I've said.
Yeah.
So I'll say, right. I'll say more, right? If we stop compartmentalizing coaching as a tool versus coaching as a profession.
Okay. I want to just stop because I want to underline that. You just said that differently than you said before.
Yeah.
We stop compartmentalizing coaching as a tool. Did you say a tool? Wow. I just do. Again, I work. I'm going to bring some of these. I'm going to bring some of your wisdom. I'll give you credit for it. I promise. It's just that's like, it's a profession. And I do think there is I think of the word myth, that might not be the exact right word, but there's been so much focus on the training and on the skills and on and I think that the professional piece has kind of gotten lost and not highlighted. It's a profession, like all professions, like being a doctor, like being a therapist, like being, all the teacher. Yeah.
Right.
It's a profession where you need to learn skills and tools in order to, bring them to your clients. But so yes. And sorry, I just wanted to make sure you underline that.
Oh, great. What a great metaphor you just brought up, right? So if we think if you think of a teacher, how many skills does a teacher bring to the table in addition to the teaching skill? It's the whole person, the whole body, a whole series of skills. And when we really focus on how we grow that in terms of how we bring what we do to the marketplace, then we stop treating it as a commodity. We stop feeling like we're competing with each other. We recognize that we are as unique as our own experience and our whole embodiment is. And so, yes, collaborate. Yes, conspire. Yes, bring the magic that a collective of coaches can bring versus an individual. Yeah, all of that. It just shifts the energy when we own it as a profession.
I just love that. I think that is a huge, huge aha for me and for the people listening. Really and truly, just that it sounds simple when you say it like that, like, right? It's something we can do. It's not, again, I think there's some idea, oh, something has to change out there in the world in order for, like, no, there's a change. We need to make it. Like, we need to be that change right here and owning it. And there's a piece that you just talked about seems so important to me. I can feel this competition, the competition with coaches. And it's like, no, we're not in competition. We can do this together. We can collaborate. It's a collaborative effort.
Exactly. It's a collective. What a beautiful collective energy we bring when we're all focused on the work of serving others.
Beautiful. I'm looking at the time, and our time is almost up. It's so cool. So
that happens.
It's like when you put a couple of coaches together in a conversation. Yeah, magic happens there. So where can people find you and find out more about you? What would be the easiest way? I know we're going to have all the information goes with this podcast, but is there just some tip you want to give people about how to find you easily?
Yeah, and when to find me, what to look for. If you're looking to build your coaching business with organizations, that's what I support coaches to do. It's my legacy move now. I'm in my corporate 3.0 cat. I'm focused full time on helping other coaches make a living doing this great work. Wow. And I feel so blessed to be able to pay it back and pay it forward in this way. My website is institute.com. I offer executive coach certification with this come from, leadership coach certification with this come from, and lots of other engagement tools to help coaches escalate, accelerate having what they need in addition to their coaching skills to serve organizations with high value coaching.
Wow. Cool. So everybody who's listening, if this is your thing, executive coaching, organizations, Anne is the place to go. Inpowered. I love that. Inpowered Institute. Go find out more about her. I just encourage people, really, this is how I do it. I just go on LinkedIn and I go on Facebook too. Just go look her up. You'll see. I'm going to say, because if you'll see how Anne operates, and you'll see that she walks her talk, because you walk your talk, Anne. Really, you do. I mean, I just love what you do. I so appreciate what you're doing for the coaching world, and I appreciate who you are. You're an amazing person.
Thank you, Kat. It's very mutual, and I so appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today.
So great. So for everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of Coaching Business Spotlight. I hope you enjoyed it. And for more tips and notes from this episode, you can find them on souldrivensuccess.com. You can find them on Facebook and LinkedIn, and be sure to subscribe so you can hear upcoming shows. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Kat.